Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm 27. After finishing school, I started working in a doctor's office. It was a busy job, but I enjoyed it. However, I left work when I married John. He wanted me to stay home and take care of things. He asked me, "Please, I really need you to help out with my mom." I hesitated, but he insisted. "Please, I'm begging you." I agreed, telling him, "I'll try my best." I'm not the kind of person who sticks to one role for long. So when John asked me to care for his mother, I said yes. I met John through a mutual friend, and we were married after a year of dating. John had already lost his father to illness and was living with his mother. "It would mean so much to me if you could help take care of my mom," John said. "She's been feeling really lonely." "I understand. We can't leave her alone," I reassured him. I learned that his mom's health had worsened after his father passed. Since then, John had been doing most of the chores. When I met her, she was kind to me. "I'll leave the outside things to John, but I'd like you to look after the house," she said warmly. "Of course, I'm happy to help," I replied. My relationship with my mother-in-law was fine. As she was sick and unable to do much, I had control over most things. But the problem was with John. After we got married, he started becoming distant. "How about we go for a drive on our day off? Your mom seems all right, and I think it could be nice," I suggested. "Sorry, I'm exhausted. I just want to rest," he answered. "All right, I understand," I said. John's attitude toward me started changing. At first, I thought it was just work stress, so I didn't think much of it. But as time passed, he seemed more distant. Even our intimate moments became rare. I began to feel like something was wrong. "Please, let's try to work this out. I want us to have a baby soon," I pleaded. "I know, I feel the same, but not today," he replied. Turning 30, I felt pressured. My mother-in-law also wanted grandchildren and kept bringing it up. It hurt that we couldn't meet her wish. Sadly, she passed away before we had the chance to start a family, and John's behavior grew even colder. "Hi, welcome home. I made your favorite cream stew for dinner," I greeted him. "John, are you listening? Do you want to take a bath first?" "I can wait," I said, trying to get his attention. John had become withdrawn. No matter how hard I tried to talk to him, he ignored me. I thought maybe he was still grieving his mother. I figured he would eventually open up, so I continued supporting him as best as I could. But the months passed, and things didn't improve. "John, how have you been? Are you sleeping okay? I want to talk about something important, about having a baby. I'm thinking of getting a fertility test. What do you think?" I asked, trying to get him to engage. "Hey, John," I tried again. I wanted to discuss his health, our plans for a family, but every time, he seemed uninterested. "John, please say something. Have I done something wrong? If there's anything bothering you, tell me," I begged. Despite my desperate pleas, he didn't listen. He ignored me for an entire month. His coldness left me confused and hurt. Feeling lost, I turned to my old friend Claire for advice. Claire works in cosmetics, and she's always been great at offering guidance when I'm dealing with personal problems. I explained everything to Claire. She listened carefully as I vented. "This isn't right. A couple in their 3rd year of marriage, living together, and the husband ignoring his wife? That's not normal. You haven't done anything to upset him, have you?" she asked. "No, I haven't. That's why I'm so confused," I replied, feeling frustrated. Claire promised to help me figure it out. She soon noticed something was off. "It's his fault. If you haven't done anything wrong, then he must be hiding something. Let's find out what it is," she suggested. "Are you sure it's okay to do this?" I asked nervously. "Absolutely. It's worse to ignore your partner and keep secrets," she assured me. Taking Claire's advice, I secretly installed small cameras and listening devices around our house. I felt guilty, but I was determined to uncover the truth. Still, John ignored me, as if nothing had changed. "John, are you listening?" I tried again, but he didn't respond. A few days later, my phone rang. It was John. "Where have you been? What's going on? You've been gone for a week," he demanded. "Why don't you ask yourself why I left?" "What do you mean? Be clear. I don't understand," I responded, frustrated that he had the audacity to question me after everything. With Claire's guidance, I investigated John and uncovered a shocking truth. I was furious with what I had discovered and decided to stay with Claire for a while. On the 7th day, John finally called. "If you have something to say, then say it to my face," he suggested. "Fine, but promise you won't ignore me," I responded firmly. The anger I felt from discovering the truth still burned inside me. John needed to face what he had done. I arranged a meeting and ended the call abruptly. I invited John to meet me at a local cafe. He must have taken time off work because he showed up in a business suit. Without wasting any time, I laid out the evidence I had gathered. "What's this, Jessica? Don't show me these things," he protested. "If you don't like it, pick them up yourself. It doesn't matter, right? I can print more copies," I retorted. "When were these pictures taken?" he asked, trying to avoid the issue. The pictures on the table were of John with his mistress, holding hands and walking around downtown, and entering a hotel together. The woman was the same in every picture, someone named Mary, who I discovered during my investigation. "I also have audio recordings. Want to hear them?" I asked. "Audio recordings?" he said, stunned. I tapped my phone screen, and immediately, a conversation between John and Mary played. "Hey John, when is she planning to leave?" Mary asked. "She'll be gone soon. She's getting fed up and might suggest a divorce," John replied. "I wish she would just be direct with us. Say stop ignoring me. That would make things so much easier for me," John said, his voice chillingly calm. "That's quite a strategy you've got, John," Mary responded, a touch of disbelief in her voice. "Typical John," she added under her breath. As I hit pause on the audio, I could sense John's frustration. It was clear he suspected we were eavesdropping. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of expression he must have had when confronted by his own wife, caught in the act of betrayal. He looked like he was about to snap with rage at any moment. "John, you needed someone to care for your mother, right? That's why you married me. But now that she's gone, I'm no longer needed. Your real plan was always Mary, wasn't it? But she never had any interest in taking care of her mother-in-law. So you picked me, someone who could handle that burden. It seems like anyone who was willing to take on the job would have sufficed. Once your mother passed, there was no reason for me to stay. You set out to make my life miserable, hoping to force me into a divorce. That's just petty, heartless, and unfair. It undermines the vows we took. At least we don't have kids," I accused. "What about children? You never wanted them because you knew that would lead to us splitting up," I pressed further. John exhaled heavily. "You're right. I married you with the intention of leaving you from the start. I'm a terrible person. And now you think your life is fine?" I responded, my voice tinged with bitterness. "Actually, I have something else to talk about." "Someone else?" John started, his words trailing off, but before he could finish, 2 women entered, apologizing for the delay. "What's going on, John? So you're living here?" one of the women asked, clearly surprised. "I'm not living here, I'm his wife, for now," I corrected. "Thank you, Claire," I added, before turning to her. "Wait, what? I thought we were shopping for new makeup," Claire asked, clearly confused. "I'm sorry, that was a lie," I said, facing both John and his mistress. "What I was actually doing was looking for my best friend's husband's mistress. That would be you, Claire, and you brought Mary here to sit next to John." I then showed Mary the proof, the photos of the affair. Her reaction was childish, like she had been caught doing something wrong. She didn't seem to grasp the full weight of what was going on. "Her attitude doesn't change the fact that I'm demanding compensation from both of you," I said firmly. "Wait, compensation? What do you mean? I haven't done anything wrong. Have I caused you any harm?" Mary questioned, incredulity in her voice. "Don't you see? I discovered that Mary is also married. Doesn't it bother her that her husband is involved with another woman?" I asked. But she remained either oblivious or unwilling to face the reality of the situation. Eventually, she crumbled, crying at the table. "I wonder if she's thinking about her husband," I mused. I briefly thought about telling her about the certified letter I intended to send, but decided against it. I would first need to explain what that meant. As I focused on Mary, John remained silent, looking downcast. John, sign these 2 forms. Here's the divorce agreement and the petition. $30,000 for compensation. Is that too much? I asked, holding out the papers. Hey, don't belittle the pain I'm going through, I shot back. John didn't respond. The conversation fell quiet, and the only sound in the restaurant was the soft sobbing from Mary. My divorce from John was finalized without any issues. I verified that the compensation and asset division had been transferred to my bank account in one lump sum. With that money, I chose to move into a nicer apartment, just a small luxury to lift my spirits and give myself a fresh start. In the end, John had to sell his childhood home to cover the compensation. After paying off his debts, he had almost nothing left. While it was unfortunate, it was unavoidable. The $3,000 he had given me wasn't the only debt he owed. His total expenses were expected to exceed $100,000. Doesn't surprise me, someone remarked. Mary, the wife of an executive at one of John's major clients, I added. The executive had been enraged after learning about the affair from the certified letter I sent. He couldn't deny the proof. Furthermore, Mary had been leaking her husband's company secrets to help John. This caused a significant rift between the 2 companies, and John lost his position. Now, he was not only facing cold treatment from his colleagues but had also been fired and was dealing with enormous legal fees. Serves him right, someone sympathized. Do you think he'll spend the rest of his life paying off that debt? Someone else asked, sounding sorrowful. That's exactly what I think, I replied. John's future looks bleak. He's probably struggling with the consequences of his actions. Eventually, John had difficulty finding another job. He gave up on full-time positions and resorted to odd jobs to make ends meet. There were rumors that the managing director had been secretly trying to sabotage his job search, though no one knew for sure if that was true. John and Mary eventually got back together after another divorce and moved in together, but their relationship wasn't going smoothly. Mary had a tendency to spend money recklessly, and despite John's attempts to save, she spent it all on things like cosmetics and clothes. They fought constantly about money. Even though they weren't cheating anymore, their relationship was clearly in trouble. I learned all this directly from John when he called me, asking for financial assistance because things had gotten tough. What did you do? Someone asked. Of course, I refused. I said firmly, I have no obligation to help them. After everything they did, who would want to help? They used to call me a maid behind my back. Whatever happens to them, it's not my concern. After the divorce, I returned to my job in medical administration, and life was busy but fulfilling. I didn't have time to dwell on the past, though sometimes when I did, unpleasant memories would creep in and cast a shadow over my mood. I shared. The other day, I ran into a reminder of those painful memories, none other than John himself. It happened while I was heading home from work, walking alone down a quiet street at dusk. He called out to me, and when I turned around, I was momentarily speechless. His hair and beard had grown out. His skin was darkened by the sun. His face was gaunt, and his clothes were ragged. I was both shocked and disgusted by how different he looked. I continued, well, it's been some time. Is that really you, John? Are you doing all right? Can you even manage to eat regularly? I found myself asking these questions with an air of concern, even though I still felt disgusted by him. His appearance, though pitiable, stirred something in me. I'm getting by eating here and there, but not 3 meals a day. Lately, I've been collecting cans and old magazines. When I take them to a scrap dealer, they buy them from me by weight, he explained. After talking for a while, John finally broached the subject. Do you think we could try again? He asked hesitantly. What about Mary? I thought you 2 were living together, I countered. I broke up with her. She left me. By now, she's probably back at her parents' place. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets arranged to marry someone her parents choose, John said, his face betraying his emotional pain. It seemed like the breakup had hit him hard, and even talking about it was tough for him. I couldn't help but feel sorry for him, but there was nothing I could do to help, I thought sadly. After that encounter, I saw John a few more times in line at a local soup kitchen. He had lost so much weight, and whenever our eyes met, he'd quickly look away, clearly embarrassed. I absolutely don't want to end up like that. Every time I saw him, That thought hit me like a ton of bricks. John had become a cautionary tale for me, and his life mirrored the failure of my first marriage. But I won't let it define me. I'm not giving up on finding happiness with someone else. My journey is far from over, and I believe I still have the potential to shine again. With that in mind, I've decided to start attending local events with my friend Claire. A divorce doesn't have to be the end of my story. The world is full of opportunities, and I believe there's someone out there who will accept me for who I am. I wrapped up my thoughts, determined to move forward with optimism and hope. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Stay amazed.